Yeah, that's one. I think it's.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Welcome everyone to the 2015 Village Trustee Debate. I'd like to introduce our panel at this time. The panel will consist of myself. I'm a former village trustee. My name is Joe Wizzawai. I'm also the administrator for the Sauk Village, Illinois Facebook page. Not the official one, but the original. And I'm also the editor for the Sauk Village Reviews. I'd like to also introduce our panelist, Francine Anderson. She's a former village trustee and is also a member of the Sauk Village Citizens for Public Awareness. I'd also like to introduce our other panelist, longtime resident and community activist, Judy Cass. This debate is hosted by the Sauk Village News and the Sauk Village Citizens for Public Awareness. Thank you to School District 168 Superintendent Dr. Donna Lee for allowing us to use this venue. We've asked that there be no outside video or photography. Unfortunately, some choose to do what they want to do. Part one of this debate will consist of question and answers from our panel. Part two will consist of an open discussion with residents and the candidates. I'd like to introduce our candidates for the 2015 election, the ones that chose to come. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Cecil Page. Current village trustee Derek Burgess. And Kelvin Jones. Each candidate is going to be given a 90-second opening statement, followed by a 60-second response to the questions that you give. If there's a follow-up to those questions, we will allow a 30-second response to that. I'd like to, at this time, introduce our elected officials. Obviously, Derek Burgess is one of them. Also, School Board President, Sharon Davenport. School Board Vice President, Tammy Jones. School Board Secretary, Sinead Garrett. And of course, David Hicks. So without further ado, I'd like to get everything started. And the first question will be from Francine. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. We're going to begin opening statements by the order of the ballot. The first opening statement will go to Lieutenant Colonel Cecil Page.
Good evening. My name is Cecil Tate, and I am one of several candidates for Sauk Village Trustee. A strange thing happened a few days ago. I heard that some of the candidates weren't going to be present, and I started to withdraw my agreement to come here because it's the second time we've met, and all 6 candidates have not been. But nevertheless, my second thought was that I owe it to you as people, residents of Sauk Village. I'm asking for your support, and most importantly, I'm asking for your vote. And so in order to do that, I had to be here tonight to answer your questions and try to address any concerns that you have that you think I may be able to assist you with. So thank you for coming out tonight, giving up your time from your family and your duties, and I appreciate it. I hope you learned something great tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one will be Derek Burgess.
Thank you, Mr. Wizzawai. First of all, I'd like to say good evening to everyone. I appreciate you took your time out of your busy schedule. I know I was just reminded Scandal is on, but DVR. Anyway, I am a trustee, been a trustee in this village since 2006. I can sit here and give a long dissertation as far as what needs to be done, what we should do and how we should be. I'm just going to keep it simple. You're here to hear what the candidates have to say. Do your homework, investigate, ask questions. This place should be filled. All of these debates should be filled to find out exactly who you think that you want to put in as a trustee to help govern this village. And I'm going to say that again, to help govern this village. It's very important. You may not think a trustee's job is not important. Yes, it is. They control the money. That's enough said. I'm hoping that tonight we have it very constructive, that it doesn't get off center, and that we have a great debate and questions, that it doesn't get personal, because it's not about that. This is your money. This village is a business, and it should be ran that way.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Okay, thank you.
The next candidate will be Mr. Calvin Jones.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out. I haven't been here very long, but I've learned to respect and appreciate a great community, and I believe that we can take this community into a much better, growing community. I'm here tonight to answer any questions. I want to be open, keep an open mind, open ears, willing to listen. I know that there is no right answer, and I know there is no wrong answer. I'm here to engage and try to bring the community together and be responsible with every tax dollar, line by line. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. The first question will be to Lieutenant Colonel Cecil Pates, Francine M.
Hi, Mr. Tate. My question is that seeing that Sauk Village has had an increase in crime, do you believe that the community policing is a good idea? If so, why? And if not, why?
I always think community policing is an important part of the big pictures. And the big picture is for all residents to play an active role and help to protect our community. What I would like to see happen is that when the chief of police give reports at the village meetings, that they be, my wife gets home late at night, my daughter gets home. I don't know if there's any crime on my block or not, so why don't they tell us? So I think by giving us specific information, village residents be more active, they can be more aware of what's going on in their immediate area, and help protect the family.
Thank you. The next question goes to Derek Burgess. Governor Browner has proposed in his budget a 50% reduction in the local government distributed fund in order to shore up the multi-billion-dollar deficit the state of Illinois is facing and is bleeding into insolvency. This is likely to translate into over a $500,000 cut in the village's revenue. Some communities are facing multi-million-dollar losses in revenue. This is likely to result in the loss of personnel and other general fund services. What does the village do facing such a huge loss in revenue?
Thank you. You just hit it on the head. What does the village need to do as far as when they cut money? We have to, unfortunately, we have to cut services. But what we need to do is do it together. Get with the department heads, to all the department heads. Sit down, go line by line with into your budget to find out where and what we can do without. My last resort is to cut personnel. But sometimes that may need to happen. I would, first of all, go with my department heads, sit down with them, let them know this is what we have, this is what we have to work with. Let's figure this out. Not by myself. I would do it with the department heads, then bring it back to the board.
Thank you. As a follow-up to that, I'd like to ask you if there are anything specifically that you think needs to be cut out of the budget, or that the village has an overwhelming amount of extra money. Is there any fat that you can cut?
There's always fat, but you can always work with, village has vendors that we pay money to. And, they know how municipalities are ran. They have to ever be the first place you start. You start talking to your vendors and say, okay, well, we did this over the years, but now we cannot do it. We have to shorten things up. We have to cut back on certain things. Right now, we don't have the money to do all the things that we used to do. So we have to go from there, like I stated before. I'd rather go talk to the vendors, people that I actually do a business with the village, before I start talking to my personnel here.
I'm sorry, time. All right, the next question is to Mr. Jones, City Council.
Good evening. Calvin, everybody knows that the word bobbleheads came up, and why. My question to you is, at a serious point in time sitting on the board, would you be able to think independently of the majority if the need be?
Absolutely. First thing, I'm a man, and I was raised to be a man. And a man will collectively hear and listen to every option, but at the end of the day, it's up to the man to make a decision. And I want to make an educated and a deep, thoughtful decision on whatever I'm faced with.
Our next question will go to Derek Burgess from Francine.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Seeing that you're the incumbent, and Sauk still have some of the same issues that we faced in 2003 when I first ran, and those being crime, youth development, economic development. What do you see as the most trying of the issues which we're facing today, and what would you think is the solution?
It was just mentioned, the most prime issue that we have that's going to face us today is finance. Second most would be crime. The crime is not, it is up over the past few years, but then again, we have a lot of transients in Sauk Village. That's one of the things. Finance, the finances are, we didn't adequately plan for the future back in the days of 2005, 2006, 2007, and that's why we're here right now. And then the last two administrations didn't plan ahead like we should. When you have a village and your finances should, just like your house, you should always put something aside for a rainy day or whatever. Even though you cannot go out and get the Cadillac performances and you have a beer budget. You need to put things aside for a rainy day. We didn't plan for that. We ran, and yes, I'm on the board, and yes, I was part of those administrations like a lot of other people that are on that board. But a lot of things, as we can see now, you bring up ideas, and if you don't have the votes, that's why I said it's important. If you don't have the votes to enact what it is that you're trying to do or that you have suggestions about,
The next question is to Calvin Jones. You're married, you have children in schools, you own a home. Many people don't know who you are, don't know what you're about, and don't know what you can bring to the table. Tell me, Mr. Jones, what are you about? What do you bring to the table?
Okay, well, I've been here 5 years. The budget is a big thing, but you could have a well-rounded budget 1 year by doing all the cuts, but to prevent the cuts from happening the second year, you have to take the problems right ahead, which is, our main problem is retention. We need to retain the village and sustain the village now. We need to keep the residents that we have so those residents can grow and contribute into the policies that are being created. We need to create that environment by starting with our future, which is our kids. We need to create more programs and more ideas and solutions to keep our kids happy. If our kids are happy, the parents are happy.
As a follow-up to that, how would you hope to achieve that as a sitting trustee? How would you hope to, keep those kids, keep the families, engaged in the village that want to stay in the village?
Well, first off, a lot of people can't stand politics. You say you ask them anything about voting or anything about listening to me, I have some ideas, and they walk away. It's because the trust has been broken in politicians. And that trust actually has come from the actual voter by not doing their homework. We as voters create our own problems. We don't do our homework. We blind vote without doing any background checks or without checking the passion and the abilities of the people you vote for. And if you do that, you should be able to create a new trust.
The next question is to Cecil Cates from Judy County.
I would like each of the candidates to answer, starting with Cecil. What do you think could be done to improve the public image of Sauk Village? Or don't you think it needs to be improved?
It definitely needs to be improved, but there are many facets to that. I think, first of all, structurally, we have to clean that up. If you come down Expressway and you get off on Sauk Trail, it's an eyesore right from that point. So your impressions are drawn by that visual impression. So I think it starts there. We have to clean up the village, so to speak, and make it more appealing to individuals. And then we can start working on things such as the housing vacancies that we have, the deteriorating vacancies that we have, and then we get down to the crime and get to other things. But I think first of all is the appearance, and that's where you need to start.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Burke.
Thank you. Cecil did hit on one thing. The second thing, and I'm going to get a lot of flack behind this, but it's the truth. We need to stay the hell out of this thing. We need to bring a positive image and quit going back and forth engaging on media. People read that and they say, okay, here we go again. We need to stop browbeating each other over whatever it is, because bad news sells. We need to cut that out. We need to think. You don't see a lot of villages in different newspapers, only unless somebody gets killed or something. We need to quit making news. We need to make this village appealing to people to come out here and want to do business. That's number one. Number two, water. Water's been in this village, has been a main source since before we had passed the water out. Before we had the problems in 2009, water's always been a thing in the village. Since I've been here, we've had 3 referendums, and 2 of them were voted down. The last one was voted for Lake Michigan water. Your businesses see that. If they see that you have Lake Michigan, if they think there's something bad about the water, they don't want to come out here. Those are things we need to clean up before we start moving this village forward.
Thank you. The next question, the same question goes to you, Mr. Cohen.
First off, we need to create unity. We have a very diverse village. We need to learn and get to know our neighbors. We need to stop shutting the door. We need to go door by door and learn and experience what each and every one of us have to offer. There's plenty of career-minded, there's artistic, there's musicians, there's all types of people in our village, and we need to utilize that to bring everyone together.
My next question, I think I would be interested in having everyone answer it as well, and that is, what do you uniquely bring in your own personality that will assist the current trustees in making better decisions?
I bring a unique and different idea and thought process. As I've been saying, everyone needs to be included, and everyone needs to take part of. Everyone needs to put input in, and everyone needs to listen. And I have a passion about whatever I do, and I hope that that passion pours through everyone else, and so we can create a passionate environment.
Mr. Tate.
Sorry. I think, excuse me, I think for me, my military training comes in theme. I've had the opportunity to plan numerous military operations, which requires the coordination of a lot of people. So when you talk about the village board, that's a coordination of 6 individuals. And you have to convince them that your way is the right way. As a lieutenant colonel, I didn't have to do a lot of convincing. That was my convincing part. But I think that when you work together in a collaborative way, people should want to open their minds to that. And if you want to be successful in anything, you have to understand one key factor. There's more strength in unity than there is in division. And if you don't understand that, then you do the failure.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. My next question, I'm sorry, Derek, you should give me answer that too. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting about it.
A lot of people do. What do I bring? I'm just going to put it out there. I bring expertise, knowledge, integrity, and I bring my word. That's what I bring to this village. My passion and my word. As far as troubleshooting, that's what I did for a living. I was an engineer for 27 years, so I do know how to troubleshoot and bring the problems up, but bring them up and bring them out and let's all discuss it. You know, I want to know, but we've always, I hear people talk about open and honest and transparency. You know, it's something that, you know, even at my job that I had, I'm retired now, even at the job that I had, you know, it's always, and this is an old cliche, and I'm just going to say it the way it is. You can have 1,000 attaboys. All it takes is one, you know what, to negate that. And that's exactly what is going on. We need to, as the candidates just said, we need to bring this village together. I'm looking out right now, I'm looking at how we're sitting now. We're all in here together. This is your village, this is your neighborhood. It shouldn't be that type of division, and we shouldn't preach that. But unfortunately, it's being done, and that's one of the things that I really don't like, and I'm hoping that I can bring that back to where it used to be when I first started out as a trustee, and we didn't have as much division, and now we have a lot of division.
Thank you. Next question is to Cecil Tate. You moved here in the 1970s. You served on the village's first park board in 1980. You served in Vietnam. You went to Afghanistan. You're a decorated war veteran. Everyone's well aware of that. You're retired lieutenant colonel. You went to serve on the school board, became school board president after some unfortunate incident. What do you see as Sauk Village's greatest challenge? And how do you hope to meet that challenge?
I think Sauk Village is at a point in history now where we have many challenges. And one thing to keep in mind is that as residents, maybe 15, 20 years ago, we gave away our right to govern ourselves and to be governed. We let the trustees and the mayors run our lives. And now we're at a point where times have changed from 20 years ago. And we must recoup that. We must say, elected officials, give us back our right and let us exercise our right. Sauk Village has so many problems. I think if we don't do something immediately, we should be put on a life support. Sauk Village is going to die. At the rate we're going, we just lost, the laundromat a couple of weeks ago, I think. We've lost restaurants. We're losing businesses probably once every 6 months, once every year. We cannot survive that and losing houses and losing residents at the same time. So I think we need to focus on one or two things and let's see them to completion.
Thank you. The next question, Derek Burton.
I really don't need to do this to you,
Oh, that's what, this is the answer.
but I knew this question had to be asked. And I'm a believer that no mayor can work alone and accomplish what 6 trustees and a mayor can do if they work together. Therefore, since you made the statement that the trustees handle the money, I want to know, do you feel that the trustees should be an integral part of comprising the new budget?
Absolutely.
Follow it up.
I'll put it simple. You just stated that the mayor does not vote the money out. The trustees do. If the money is, we don't have it, or we go over budget, or we spend money unwisely, it goes before the board each and every month. We have an accounts payable twice a month. Trustees get a copy of that accounts payable. They have any problems with that accounts payable, you can do 2 things. You can go and talk to Mohan, or you can bring it up at the board meeting. Because once you vote on it, you vote on that particular accounts payable. 2 pages, 10 pages. When it doesn't come back and you don't have the money, the mayor has plausible deniability because he didn't vote the money out. The trustees did. That's their job, is to oversee the money, and that's what it's there for, checks and balance.
Thank you.
Okay, starting with Mr. Tate, and I would like to have all of the trustee candidates answer transparent, and they provide a lot of rhetoric, and there has been no transparency and minimal truth about exactly what is going on with our monies, as well as especially as our professional services, which I have difficulty with. And I want to understand, how would you be more transparent, and what do you consider about lowering the amount of monies that is in our budget for professional services?
I think transparency starts with the trustees themselves. As Trustee Burris talked about voting out the money, we are your keepers of your tax dollars. So we're supposed to oversee that and watch how that is spent. Transparency is all about asking questions. You may go to a meeting and they go through the agenda, consent agendas, and they have 25 items and they vote yes for everything. And you're sitting there as a resident, you don't have a clue what any of it means. I think as a trustee, if I ask the question so that you will understand it, sitting out in the audience, I think that's part of transparency. Then you know when we vote on item 6, this is what item 6 is really about. It's not just a bunch of words on a piece of paper. There's real meaning behind it. And you as residents need to understand those meanings.
Francine, the first part of your question, could you repeat that?
Yes, I will. I said the current administration has not been transparent and has provided a lot of rhetoric around being transparent, especially concerning the professional services. And how would you consider dealing with the professional services and
being more transparent?
Okay, me, I don't think I can be anymore. I'm already been thrown to the dirt, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't stop me. I will continue to be as forthright as I possibly can to inform the residents, as long as I am trustee. How do the people take care of that? That's what you're here for. That's what April 7th is for. That's how you go, and that's how you put the people in there that you feel that can move your village forward. That's your time as residents, as voters, to make your stand and say, okay, this is what you haven't done or whatever. This is your time now to basically answer that question. As far as when you go to your vendors, as I call it, all your professional, but I call it the vendors. You go to them and you let them know. You negotiate with them like you did do any other negotiations. We don't have the money. Now, you can continue to do services with us, but this is all we can pay. If not, then okay. If you want to continue, but this is all we have. You have to stop and say, okay, we don't have an X amount. You see, we're not paying you on time, so you can do one or two things. You can accept the new amount, and we would have to pay what we owe, or we have to get someone else. You have to be a negotiator. You negotiate with everything in life, with your bills, with your livelihood, with your life experience. You have to negotiate with the village.
Your time has expired.
As I stated before. Okay.
Thank you.
Don't ask me those long questions.
Didn't go to Kevin.
Transparency, it starts with your petitions. It's all about being truthful to yourself and having the honesty from day one. If you could hustle up on petitions, go door to door, ask people, sell yourself on what you believe in. When and if you get elected to office, you need to go back to the same people that put you in office and give them the respect that they deserve, that came out to vote for you, and do what stuff. That's how you create and you uphold the transparency.
Thank you. The next question is, you just didn't get around to it, right? The next question is to Trustee Burgess. You voted against the budget last year, the very first time you had since you served on the board. You claim that the budget was not balanced, and we see that the budget clearly was not balanced. Other trustees came to that realization in December. Was your vote the right thing to do? And going into the next budget cycle, what are your expectations?
Okay, I'm not going to be redundant. Yes, we all know that, yes, I did. I was a opponent of the last budget, and I did give reasons why it didn't happen. It's over, it's done with. What will I do with the next budget? The same thing. I will look at it also. And if I feel that the numbers just are not right, I will bring it up like I did last time. I was asked, what are your solutions? I am not the mayor. I did not sit down by myself and do that budget. So therefore, my thing would be I would have to talk to if I was in that position, I would talk to my department heads and find out from them. I cannot cut something that I'm not an expert at. That's why I have department heads, because those are the experts. But if me, myself, as a trustee, see that budget is still not feasible, I will bring it up again and let the people know why. As far as me having a solution, I don't believe in one person solving all the problems. I believe that we have to work together to solve the problem, because the problems affect all of us, not just one.
Thank you. Next question is to P.L.A.N.
In talking about transparency, I liked your idea and how you presented it. But when you're a trustee, you all of a sudden live in a fishbowl. Everybody is looking, everybody is questioning, everybody is making a decision in their own mind. But when you're sitting there on the board and a motion is made and it hasn't been discussed, and you're looking around, where did this come from? We haven't talked about this. You have a right to ask questions before you vote. But at that point, do you think it's too late?
It's never too late. If you have a thought that could be better, if you think that what was done was wrong and you didn't have the information provided to you, you have every right to question and backtrack. It's only right to do that because you're affecting not just your thought or how it makes you look. You can't worry about that. You got the whole village to worry about. You just can't have a me attitude. You have to have a we attitude.
At last Tuesday's board meeting, there wasn't a motion, but there was a subject brought up. And it wasn't handled in a professional manner or any statements made that would indicate why things are done the way they're done. But you had, out of 6 trustees, 4 trustees were made aware of something that occurred, and 2 trustees had no idea what was going on until it was brought up. Therefore, the transparency wasn't there. And I keep saying that, it's not there. What would you have done had you been one of the 2 trustees that was not included in the knowledge of what the other board?
First off, you have to remind the other trustees of what they're here for, what their job is, and you have to stand up and give the best of you at that time. You can't just allow everything to go one way. You have to give your input and no matter what.
Mr. Burgess, I am going to start my question with you, but I would like for everyone to answer the question. As you know, the citizens have had a mandate for Lake Michigan water. We passed a referendum, and yet has not much been done for our infrastructure. And I am kind of upset because all of us know that Well 3 is back online. And many residents are unaware of it because we have not been informed. I would like to know, do you know of another way that can build better communication between the village board as well as the citizens in Sauk Village so that we could be made more aware of issues that are created around the water?
Thank you. Last Tuesday at the village board meeting, our engineers did come, and he did give a update of what direction that he would recommend that the village move into as far as taking care of well 1 and 2 and then 3. Also with the obtaining Lake Michigan water, which you're absolutely right, there was a referendum that was passed to move forward. I was there, and all the board members were there to hear this presentation. However, you weren't allowed to ask questions. And that's something that I didn't think, I mean, you're sitting here listening to a presentation, and the man that's giving the presentation is being paid by the village. In other words, he's a paid engineer. He's a professional engineer. He made up this. I am an engineer, but I couldn't ask those type of questions because those are technical and they relate to his field. I felt that if it got out of hand, yes, you could probably, someone could curtail some of the questions. But I think that at least we should have been able, while he was there, Don't make a mistake now. He's there, he's getting paid. While he was there, then we should have been able to ask some of those questions that you're asking now.
Thank you.
First off, we shouldn't assume that all of villagers understand the language that's coming across, the graphs, the terminology that's being used, the abbreviations. There's a lot of abbreviations that come across that the average villager just won't understand. We need to make sure that every villager break it down to the lamest terms, understand every abbreviation, every terminology that's coming across so that you don't feel intimidated by asking a question that you think you may or should know.
Thank you.
First of all, I don't think you should have any meeting or anyone making any presentations to the residents and don't permit you to ask the question. It's just ridiculous for you to sit here and you can't answer one single question. Or I give you the answer, I'll get back to you later. That is ridiculous. We talk about transparency. That's not transparency. Transparency is me standing in front of you. You ask the question, when we're going to get elected Michigan water, and I have some kind of answer for it. And the water is a terrible subject for me because I volunteered to deliver water when we were on the mandate. So I took water to disabled individuals and the elderly in Sauk Village. So water is a sore point with me. And when I go to village meetings and I hear about how money's taken from the water fund and paying a million different other things, that is ridiculous. You will never be able to correct the infrastructure if you're constantly taking money out and doing other things with it. You just can't do it. And if you, I know, 4 minutes. I received emails from an organization called CUB, Citizens Utility Board. I think some villages need a citizen utility board or something like that. To watch our water fund and make sure it goes forward, infrastructure and other things we need to do, 3 minutes, other things we need to do to correct the water situation in Sauk Village. It's ridiculous to let someone go in and take money and do a million other things, except what that money is intended
I'm
for.
getting emotional over here, I'm sorry. I wanted you to finish your point, but thank you. The next question will go to all the candidates. All the candidates. So the first, I want to have Mr. Jones answer it first. In this last budget cycle, the village levied, which means that they taxed the residents for $42,000 for Parks and Recreation. They spent $36,000 on a lobbyist. And the village board's most recent budget that was passed under that $42,000 tax levy, only $14,000 was dedicated to Parks and Recreation. What does it say about the priorities when it comes to the kids of Sauk Village? Residents are taxed $42,000, but only $14,000 is spent. Mr. Gilmore.
Well, if you want to create revenue, you need to invest. And the best way to invest in our situation is into our future, which is our kids. If you invest in our kids grow up and stay in our village, that creates a better village. If our kids grow up in a growing environment, that is the type of news that we need to see when we turn and flip through the newspaper, something positive. And that money, no money should be cut from any kid, any children activities, anything that's educational and safety for the village.
Thank you. Mr. Tate.
I think I heard you say $42,000 was levied and $14,000 was spent.
That's correct.
So the question becomes, what happened to the $28,000 that's left over? Why are we creating a slush fund? And I know no other word to use, so I'm going to use that word. Why are we creating a fund where we're placing money and nothing does? Why am I taxing you? Why didn't I just tax you $14,000? So what am I going to do with the $28,000? I'm going to roll it over and use it for something else that was not intended for in the first place. That's what I'm going to do with it. So I think that we have to be aware of the system. Whether you can add 1 plus 1 doesn't even matter. Ask your next door neighbor who can add 1 plus 1. When they look at it, $42,000 you were taxed, 14 was spent. The question becomes, what happened to the $28,000? And those are the questions that you must ask the question.
Thank you. Trustee Burke?
Okay, this is where history comes into play. When I became trustee back in 2006, I was in charge of Parks and Recs. At that time, we had a budget of $72,000. Since that time, the administration came in and they got rid of the full-time person that we had running the community center and the other programs that we were involved because of budgetary cuts. So we had to go get a part-time person. But real simple, you put your money where your mouth is. If you keep pulling money from whatever, then you're going to have what you have. You get what you pay for. If you don't want to pay for the children or the programs, then that's what you get. No children participating in the programs. But if you put the money out there and you show the sincerity, okay, and you fund it, they will come. It's a shame that back in 2006 that we had a full-fledged basketball team. We had baseball. We had soccer. Those things are non-existent now because the people have scattered, because during those particular period of time, as time went on, other people became in charge and they weren't there for the kids, and you saw it. If you've been here since 2006, they weren't there for the kids. You got rid of, they forced a woman out of there that helped raise my kids back when I was here and I first moved out here. The money, you have to invest the money where you need. If everyone is crying about that we don't have any program, put the money there. But don't try to start, you cannot start up a program right now after 3 years and it's been vacant because they moved on to different villages. You have to create other ways to bring those programs back. And it's not by charging $100 a child.
Thank you, Trustee. I'd let you go over because and I'll let you go over as well if you choose.
Everybody else is cold.
Okay. We're going to ask one more round of questions and then we're going to open up to the public. The next question would go to Mr. Jones.
My question is for all three of you, and it appears that we do not have a team with our mayor and our board at this time. There's a division. Tell me, what is it about you that you can work to make it a team?
Well, first off, we have to have an open mind. Like I said, I don't have a long track record here. I'm not biased toward anything. I believe everyone is on the same playing field, and that's the way it needs to be treated. I have to keep an open mind. Like I've been a truck driver for over 18 years. It's my job on a daily basis, hour by hour, minute by minute, and to keep my eyes open, to make quick judgments, to understand every minute of the day while at work, and that same quality needs to be, I need to keep that same quality when engaging the board, the mayor, and the rest of the public.
I think, for me, I think that question makes me understand why I have 2 ears. One is to listen to the village residents and what their concerns are, and the other is to listen to the trustees and what their concerns are. We cannot operate in a vacuum or divide. We just cannot do that and survive. The mayor is the leader of the whole team, and you lead by example. If the mayor shows the trustees that he has a focus, he has a vision of what the village should be doing or the direction we should be traveling in, then I think I can help bring that vision, because I'll listen to the concerns and the naysayers and try to get them to see that this is a better way. Now, it's compromise. It's always compromise. People are going to say, no, that's not the best way to go. Hopefully, I have the trust of them that they say, okay, I'm going to give you this one, I'm going to try it one time and see that it is the best avenue. But you lead by example, and leadership has always been that way.
Thank you. Eric?
Fact. The mayor has 5 votes right now. Does he need my vote? No. The problem is, as I stated before, transparency. If I'm not told, and I was told, and the reason why I'm not told, because, I obviously, probably tell the world or whatever the case. In other words, you don't trust me to do my job as a trustee, so therefore, I'm not going to tell you what's going on. Fine, that's damn. But don't expect me to okay something that I haven't heard anything about. If I haven't heard anything about what you're about to vote on, yes, I'm going to question that, because that's what the residents ask me. I'm not going to just say I'm going to go along with what everyone else says. If I haven't heard it, if I haven't had a chance to research it or at least look at it before we vote on it, yes, I'm going to question that, because that's what you have me there. That's why you vote and put me in there. That's why you vote and put other trustees in there, so they can research. The residents don't have time to do that. They don't see all the ins and outs. You as a trustee should know everything that's going on in the village. Not wait until village meeting night to find out what's happening. Or
Is there a solution
the solution
at
is
this time before the change?
the solution is to be, you have 6 trustees. Tell them what's going on. That's the solution. When you exclude people, that's when you have problems. That's your solution, is to include. All of these trustees have been elected by the people. Include them all. You may not get all the favorable. No one's going to get 100% of anything. But you include them and let them use their own mind to make that decision. You can't make a decision for any one person, and you shouldn't micromanage your trustees.
Thank you. We've got 2 more questions from the panel, and then we're going to open it up to the residents.
Are you sure?
But I also would like to have my question answered by all trustees, and that is that, we at SBCPA have done a lot of research around fire hydrants. And we know that the village has not focused on repairing the hydrants as fast as we would like them to. So, with public safety being such a great concern, I would like to know, will you be willing to make fire hydrants a very important issue or a high priority list of what needs to be done in our budget and for our citizens to keep us all safe?
Without a doubt. Because several things happen. Fire hydrants are not just about the safety of you and your family. That's the first thing. But do you know that if that fire hydrant is not working and your house catch on fire, that the insurance company will not pay you for that? So we have a vested interest to make sure that they're operating. And I was at a meeting a while back, and the mayor and I had discussed color coding the fire hydrants that weren't working. And he said that they were going to put a white dot on the fire hydrant so that you know it's not working, and the firefighters know it's not working. I don't know if that happened or not, but color coding is only half the job. When are we going to start replacing them and let residents know when they're not working? I'm sure all of you can raise your hand right now and tell me if your fire hydrant is working or not. You probably don't have a clue. The wrong time to find out is when your house is on fire. So I say that should be a number one priority.
Thank you, Trustee Perkins.
Yes, and I thank you for that question, Francine, ex-trustee. She knows what question to ask you for the trustee. Anyway, we did, and I hate, this is what happened. And I did talk to the mayor, even though it's been said I don't talk to him. I did talk to him, and we did talk about repairing the fire hydrants. So it was with his blessing, and I think a few of the other board members, we asked Public Works on Saturdays to come out and start doing fire hydrant repair. What you're asking is correct, because I was hoping that we would get a report at least once a month, or second and fourth Tuesday of the month, from Public Works on the status of fixing the fire hydrant, because it was okay to do the overtime to fix the fire hydrants, but now here the last month or so, quite naturally, they haven't been able to do that because of the snow. But they were given the okay to do that, but they should have came back with a report. That's something that we should be, and I dropped the ball on that too, because I should have asked Kevin to give us an update and the status on what's going on with the fire hydrant. And that question that you just asked, you better believe that it will be, it's going to be brought up, and you can bet that it's going to be brought up at the next board meeting. Believe that. Not by me, but it'll be brought up.
Mr. Trump, and you got to go over now.
Fire hydrants, it's a necessity. It's just as needing as having heat in your home. It's for the protection of your property, it's for the protection of your family, and it's protection of your community. Those types of situations with fire hydrants, those are the type of things that drives down our community. Those are the things that drives people out of our community. We need to put that on top of a safety list, and it needs to be checked and double checked and made sure that it's followed up every time one is fixed. It needs to be noticed and noted that it's been fixed, and the ones that haven't been fixed, the residents need to know if their fire hydrant isn't working. That's one fact. Everyone needs to know what type of danger that their family is in, and it's a necessity and needs to be on top of the list.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. Next question I'm going to ask, and this will be the last question from the panel. We're going to open it up to the residents. Before I do that, I'd like to introduce a couple people that arrived late. Sauk Village Trustee Linda Washington. School Board Member Jimo Casali. And School Board Member Dolores Green. My question is I have a lot more questions I wanted to ask, but unfortunately time's kind of killer. The question I have for you is, when you go to a village board meeting, there seems to be a lack of questioning and dialogue among the board, leaving the residents not knowing what really is going on. What can you do to help make that more of an open process if you're elected? That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is, what kind of committee do you see yourself serving on if you get elected?
Wow.
I'm not familiar with all the committees that exist within the village, so I can't answer that question. I think one thing that we see at our meetings is the division. We've talked about that all night long. We have 6 people, and there are probably 6 different mindsets. And you cannot operate a village with 6 people going in 6 different directions. So my job would be to see if we can find a happy medium, where we can all sit down and agree on one or two, hopefully more, items collectively. And if you can't do that, then everyone should just throw up their hands. Just throw up your hands and say, the heck with it. Because without that cohesion at the top, you're not going to see it anywhere else. And what I've seen, and I'm not going to go over my time, in the last 10 years, the amount of disrespect and rudeness that exists in Sauk Village. And that goes from trustee to mayor, trustee to trustee, resident to resident. The audacity of a resident female to call another resident female a bitch and get rewarded. Ridiculous. And the last forum, we had a resident who was very rude and disrespectful. We have to learn respect. You know, you ask a question, I should not shut you down. I should let you ask your question and answer to the best of my ability.
And as you say that, I'm going to shut you down. Time's expired. Trustee Burke.
What committee would I like to be on is basically what you're asking. The committee I was taken off of. I would like to be back on economic development. I'm retired. I feel I have full time to go out there and basically try to bring that. But also, in order for me to get out and sell this village, we need to clean it up as was stated earlier. I cannot go out there and bring somebody here in my house and it looks this way. I got to clean my house up. So yes, that would be one of my first priorities. This would be, and that's what we have to do together. Be on board together to take care of home first before we go out there and try to advertise and bring somebody else in here. As far as dissension on the board, you have 6 people talking. You have 6 people supposedly independent. You can't agree to disagree. But when it gets to the point where you become belligerent, you start not respecting one another, then that's where the circus comes. And I said this before, said this when we had Lewis Towers as mayor. People see what's going on and they see what's happening. But I've been belligerent a couple of times because I'm very passionate and I'm sorry that I've done that. I apologize to the residents, but I'm allergic to bullshit, and that's as simple as that.
Thank you.
Can I have the question and vote again, please?
Basically, what committee you would like to serve on if you're elected, and what can we do to help, bring dialogue to the residents so they understand what's going on in Village Hall?
I'm not familiar with all of the committees, but I know what I'm good at, and I'm good at having a calm thought process, and I would like to utilize those qualities that I have. The thing to create an environment for the residents to ask questions, to feel comfortable, is being truthful, like I said from the word go. Is being honest and creating, we have to rebuild a trust in politicians. Like it or not, you're a politician. People see you as a politician. People expect you to do politician-like things and not to allow the public to speak, to shut the public down when answers need to be answered, to be rude, to be disrespectful. I don't like that. If my mom was here and a question was asked, would my mom want to ask a question and was being disrespected, that would make me feel some type of way. And when I see a woman, an elderly person, just standing there asking a question that they deserve to answer and being treated rudely, I just don't like that, and I think that have to change. And that right there will spread across the village of, you know what, maybe you can come down to the village hall and answer questions. They seem to be open and willing to answer your questions without having to be detained or feeling that you need to restrict your questions to offend anyone. You should be able to ask any question, not just what's on the agenda. You pay your taxes, you live here. Not just pay your taxes. If you live here, if you're a renter, all renters, they are part of our community. We need to stop treating them as outsiders, as transients. Their kids go to our schools. We have to respect everyone, not if they just pay the taxes. Everyone has to pay their dues. They pay rent.
Thank you. No, we appreciate your time. And I did let you go over it, by the way.
Thank you.
So you all had equal time. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
My question is about the meeting that you had and the other two trustees didn't get the information. I would want to know, I believe trustees should be friends with one another. In other words, those two trustees that didn't get the information, somebody else should have gave it to them even if they didn't want to. So I'm asking you all the question is, will you try to be friends with the other three trustees to where you would all get the same information in time to vote right?
Mr. Jones, you start.
You don't have to be friends. You don't have to like each other. But you're here to serve. And it's your job to serve. And if there's information that needs to be out, it needs to get out. You got to put all that aside because you are elected officials.
Mr. Tate.
I agree with Mr. Jones. Friendship is not a part of the job. We're here to do service for you. So I don't have to be friends with the trustees. I will respect them and will work with them 100% to do what's best for you. So friendship has nothing whatsoever to do with that.
Mr. Burgess.
Your question, first of all, there would be no way of me knowing that another trustee didn't get that communication. I mean, if I didn't get it, I assume no one got it. So how would I know until I got to that meeting? I mean, if there's something, the only way I would find that out, that another person didn't get it is if, I got it and it didn't see their name on it. So, I mean, yes, I try to communicate with the trustees, the ones that would allow me to, and I try to call if they ask me to do something, yes, I would. This is, like I said before, another type of contest to see who got the biggest whatever. We're here to make this village profitable. Don't get it wrong. This is a not non-for-profit. The village is a for-profit organization. And that's how you ran. You ran so you can make money, so you can pay services, so you can go out and get more services. So you can go out and you can expand your village. We all have to work together as business people to make and move this village forward. That's what I would have to do, and that's what I have been doing.
Thank you. Next question is to Larry Stewart.
Well, I'd like to repeat a question that was asked because I don't feel it was answered, except for Mr. Burgess. Now, I understand that you all are running for trustee, running for re-election. I was very intrigued on your questions and your answers. You all was, in my opinion, that don't go far, that you all were very good. But the question was asked, what committee would you like to serve on? Now, the purpose of that is, one, you could be put on a committee by the mayor, or you can ask for a committee of the mayor. That's what I understand. See, because you had served on different committees at different times, and you were removed from committees at different times, Mr. Burgess. So I'll repeat the question to Mr. Tate and Mr. Jones. If you don't have an outlook on what committee you would like to be on, look into it, because I sit on a committee. And whether it's noticed or not, I have no overhead over that committee. I sit on the senior committee. There's no trustee over that. There's no trustee over housing. Check.
Ms. Brown, can I give you a little information on that?
We're going to Cecil answer first, and then you answer. Mr. Bates.
You're absolutely right. I don't know all the committees that exist, and I will look into that to find out what committees that exist. But I'm not so sure I buy off having a trustee over a committee only because something that happened last year. I heard trustees who are over departments or department heads, how we're going to figure it, who went to them and talked about the budget crisis and offered suggestions and were basically told, get out of my office. You cannot have a trustee who's on a committee representing the mayor that's not respected by a department head. You can't give me responsibility without authority. You can't do it. So I'm not sure the trustees even needed over these committees or department heads if they have no authority over what that person does.
Trustee Burgess, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just trying to give just a little history. As I stated before, when I first became a trustee, I was put on Parks and Recs. When the new administration, new mayor came in, he took me off of Parks and Recs. He has that right to do that. The mayor appoints you, the trustees on the committees. You can ask for the committees, and you can say, I want to serve on this committee, but it's up to the mayor who he wants to put on that committee. I did ask for, I was taken off of that, and I was put on economic development. Okay, during that tenure, we brought in a couple of businesses with the help of the rest of the board, but quite naturally, I was out there leading it because I had to go to a lot of different meetings. Then when the new mayor came in at that point, he took me off that committee and wanted me to be on another committee, and I told him, no, at that point in time, I'll start my own committee because I wanted it to be something that I felt that would be more beneficial to the village. So the mayor is the one that appoints you to the committees. You cannot pick, you can ask, you can make a statement and say, yes, I would like to be on this committee, but it's up to the mayor. So us saying that we would like to be on one committee, I think it doesn't make much sense because, and I do kind of agree with Cecil Tate as far as certain committees. There are certain committees that should have a trustee, but then there are other committees that I think trustee can be better utilized by doing something else other than being in charge of certain committees.
Thank you.
First off, I want to be respectful. I don't want to step over anyone's toes or policies. I want to learn the policy. This is why I can't just make a decision by myself at this time or with what committee. I want to work with the rest of the trustees to make sure that I have the best fit for whatever committee that is needed for me to serve on.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Next question. Rachel.
I found that, okay.
No.
I found that every Tuesday, whenever I show up at board meetings, that a lot of times the mayor talks around my question, never gives me a definitive answer on anything. What I found lately is that erroneous or misleading information has been put out by the village. And one issue that I want you all to address is that Gary Holcomb, who's the head of the Housing Commission, indicated that 798 houses were back on the rolls and we're not going to get tax money until next year, which is true. However, they didn't tell us anything about what we should see in the immediate future right now. So if we got 798 houses back on the tax roll, there should be some kind of immediate revenue that we should see now. And my second question is, water is my passion. And I would like to know some kind of time frame, which I asked, on when the phase 2 is going to be finished. And also I would like to know why is wells 1 and 2 still showing small detection of vinyl chloride? Nobody put that out there. And also my third question is, why does residents have to come in and tell people, like we residents told you guys the water was contaminated, what are you guys sitting up there for? You know, things like that. We want to know why the residents have to do your job. All right. I didn't say that.
I think I got the first one.
That's first. Okay.
I don't write very fast.
Okay.
You talk about immediate revenue from the 798 houses that. Okay, first of all, I don't know if that's a true figure or not, but let's say that it is. He said it was 798 houses put back on the roads. And your question was immediate revenue. Well, immediate revenue would mean that the inspections were conducted by the builders. I think the inspections are $50, I think. So 50 times, mathematicians, 50 times 798 is about $60,000 or so that the village should have. I think they're charging $85 to turn the water in a house fund. So multiply 85 times 798, and you probably come up with another $70,000. Those are funds that should be immediately available. If in fact those houses are back online, as he stated, and that's just rough math. Rough math, 50 times 798 and 85 times 798. That's rough math. That's money we should have right now.
Trustee Burgess.
We got 2 and 3. I got number 1.
The 798 homes. Okay, but I was going to say the immediate impact would be possibly what we pay for your water and things like that. But now the other question, as far as when is phase 2, I did ask that question after the fact. I don't know if you heard it, but he told us that phase 2 would more likely be completed in 3 years. So that question I did ask Jim Zarnik, and he told us that it would be completed in 3 years. And then what was your third? Did you have
Question 2. I want to know why nobody informed us that wells 1 and 2 have low concentration of vinyl chloride. These is being detected in there now. Ever since July, it still shows. And I want to know why nobody told us, even though it doesn't meet the state requirement or the federal, but we should know that whatever we're doing, we're paying $12,000 a month to get this stuff, to get these airstrips online, but yet we still have vinyl chloride. I'd like to know what are you guys going to do to address that? Because we paying money that's going down the drain.
Okay, I want to get a couple more questions, and so if you quickly answer that question.
the only thing about the vinyl chloride, every month, I think it's every 2 months, you get a reading from the government. They do give it, and it should be passed out at the meetings. It should be there, and I think sometimes they are at the back table to let you know. We are aware that the vinyl chloride is minimum, that it's still in the water. The strippers are taking as much as they possibly. It's below standards, basically, and that's what it is. That's the only thing I can tell you. How come we knew about the low amount of vinyl chloride, but it was so low that it's nothing to do. The government won't say anything about that. In other words, it's not unhealthy. Now, you had a third one.
Your time expired. Sorry. Sorry, just being fair, that's all. Did you want to answer that, Mr. Bill?
No.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move on to the next question from Dolores Green.
Greetings to everyone in the house tonight. My name is Dolores Green. I'm on the school board, District 168. And I've heard a lot of things about Sauk Village tonight that's not going well. I have not heard one positive thing about Sauk Village tonight. But I do see a lot of positive things going on in Sauk Village. My husband and I moved here. It's been almost 3 years now, and I see a lot of good things happening in Sauk Village. And I think that needs to be talked about as far as problem solutions. My question tonight is, what is your vision for Sauk Village as far as moving forward? I know we have problems that we have to deal with, but we want to talk about being a solution to the problems, not focus on the problems. So what is your vision for Sauk Village and moving forward? What can you do to be the change you would like to see in Sauk Village?
That's a very good question, too. And the question, I'll go to Trustee Burgess first.
That is a good question, and you should ask what other people are going to do. Now, you said as far as you heard a lot of negative, people are tired. People are tired of what's, you're asking the question. And I'm trying to answer you.
But if we keep focusing on what's not going right, what's not going well, it's not going to get any better. I mean, I don't mean it to be offensive. But I just feel bad when I hear all the negative things about Sauk Village.
Listen to the
positive
truth.
things that are happening.
Okay.
Can we talk
I'm
about
trying.
what's good about Sauk Village?
Trustee Burch, I'll let you start over again, please.
Okay, only thing I was trying to say is, people, you cannot tell a person what they can and cannot say. If people are frustrated, you're going to hear it. That's what they come out for. That's why they come out to the meeting, so they can express their opinion. It's not that it's negative. People are frustrated at something. If you're frustrated at something, you're going to come out, you're going to air your opinion. And they have that right. As far as anything positive in the village, there's a lot of positive things going on. But if people are frustrated about other things, they're going to definitely express that. We do have a lot of things that are going on in the village, but some people are tired of things that are not going on in the village. But you cannot tell a person, well, everything is negative, and can you say something positive? The positive thing in the village is we're trying to move the village forward. But you have to have a vision. You have to come together, and you cannot just do it with certain people. You have to include the whole village.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Trustee Burch. Mr. Jones.
We have a lot of great things, a lot of great, open-minded, young mind children. These kids are our future, and we as the adults, we as board members, we as school board members, we as the school teachers, we have to create a new foundation to build upon for the future of our kids, starting with involving and getting the kids involved. That's been a very, very hard thing due to the change that has happened over time. I'm in my 30s. I understand about single parents. I understand what single parents have to go through. I understand that the single moms need different type of attention that had been given in the past. We need new ideas to create an environment that the new generation can grow and thrive in.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Tate.
First of all, I'm not a motivational speaker and make you feel good. I'm a troubleshooter. If there's a problem, I want to address the problem. I don't want to talk about the grass is green, the lights are on, all the good things. I want to talk about the bad things to make them better. And if you never talk about the bad things, how are you going to make them better? You've got to talk about those things. And that's where I am. I can identify every problem the village has, and I'm going to work to find a solution to that problem so it no longer exists a year from now, and we can move forward. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you how great Sauk Village is, all the good things that are happening, especially in the media when you're hearing about possibility of merging with other communities. Have you heard that? Have you read that? I think we have bigger problems to solve. And all the good things take care of themselves.
Thank you. This is our last question, and I'm going to introduce her. Mrs. Dickey.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Natalie Powell Dickens. This is my husband, Charles Dickens. We just moved here, basically, in January. And I agree with what you said, and I'm very disappointed in the answer Trustee Burch gave. I just moved here. I want to hear about the good things in Sauk Village. And I also want to hear about the bad things in South Village. And yes, you are going to take care of the bad things, but the good and the bad goes together. Without the good and the bad, you have no problem to solve or nothing to work with or nothing to increase it. And I want to hear the good. As a member of this committee that just moved here, I expect coming to a meeting that I will not hear just about the bad. I want to hear about the good things and also what we can do to make it, even though it's good, make it better. And also what is bad, I want to hear what we're going to do to correct it. So your answer, until before you said that and about people is tired, that's when you lose me. Because before, I was listening to you very keenly, and I did respect everything you have to say. But when you're going to get up and say that people is tired and still didn't give her an answer to the question that she asked, those two did. You still haven't given an answer. All you're saying that people is tired. That's why we're here, because we're tired. And that's why we're here to hear what you're going to do for us, the village of the people of South Village. Not that people is tired. And not that the bad don't count and the good doesn't count. They both work in hand with each other. So please, I want to hear about the good in South Village. As a member just moved here, and I also want to hear about the bad, because I'm here to also help fix the good and the bad.
Again, it's a very, very good question. And I'm going to give you just a moment. But I'd like to hear no more negative, just something positive. What's going that's good? Thank you.
Okay, ma'am, I would love to answer that question. And you're absolutely right about a couple of things. You know, we preach not negativity. We try to, and as I said before, we need to bring this village positive. What I would like to see, what I'm going to work on, and what I vowed to do, is to bring this village out of doldrums as far as finances is concerned. I'm looking forward. I want to put it into a perspective where we can start trying to take care of what we have. I moved out here in 1982 because it was a diverse community. Because I wanted my kids to grow up in a diverse community. I wanted my kids to grow up I was living in the city and I wanted to come out and I was hoping the crime rate would be down. It has been that way. It was like that way when I moved out here back in 1982. What I want to do is, a lot of things have dropped the ball. Maybe I've dropped the ball. But what I'm trying to do now is, because I have a vested interest out here, as all the people that live out here in the village, either you be a transit or you be a taxpayer, you have a vested interest because you live out here. This is where your family is at. As far as positive things, I'm trying to, and I ask questions. That's why I asked the questions, because we need to go and look at other things. What we have going on right now may not be working. We have to change, we have to negativity, but we can't push that to the side and say it's not happening. It is. I want to get to the point where we can now go out and market Sauk Village to bring businesses in. We have brought a few in, but we've also lost a few. Why did we do that? Let's go out and find out what we have to do to sell this village, to put it back on the map for prosperity. That's what you're here for. You came out here into Sauk Village so you can give your children a chance to move and to grow and to be educated in a diverse community, not a separate and segregated community. That's what we've become so far now. I want to see more positive. I definitely want to, because my house has lost over $100,000 in value because of the foreclosure, because people have walked away. Those are the things I'm trying to, yes, those are the negative, but we need to try to find out what we have to do to make it positive.
Thank you, President.
Well, I was born and raised on the west side of Chicago. I came here, I drove through here, and I thought it was, and still do think it's very peaceful. When it get dark, I don't see anyone. I still think that I see some things that needs to improve. I don't want to see our kids go in the direction of some of the kids that I have seen. being shot down. This is why we need to put some proactive, long-term goals in place. We need to look down the road 10, 15 years from now. We didn't get into a bad situation overnight. It was a lack of involvement from the community, a lack of information getting to the community that we need to concentrate on. And this community can and will be a better community.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Pace.
I have not changed my position. I will listen to any resident that wants to talk about the good things that are going on in Sauk Village. I am overwhelmed, as are my neighbors, about the negative things that are happening. So we can't focus on the good things. Homes are being broken into, homes are vacant, right? Children are on the streets, walking in the streets, shooting. I live in an area where there's shooting every 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
So the good things, I'll listen. I would definitely listen to all the good things that's going on in your area.
Right.
And I know people live on both sides of the village. And I'm willing to bet you, ask them to come in and write down 10 things that are going on good in their areas, in their neighborhoods. Ask them to write down 10 things. And then we'll come back here and we'll compare notes. But I can assure you that the negative things in Sauk Village are overwhelming. Are overwhelming. Our children are getting less educated. Our children are getting more violent. Our community is falling apart, and if we don't grab it now, in 2015, if we don't grab it now, 5 years from now, you won't know Sauk Village. It'll be a completely different thing.
Thank you, Mr. Pace. Are you guys okay to do another question?
I'm here all day.
He said we could do one more, so I'm gonna turn it over to her.
He said he's here all night.
Right.
My name is P.L.A.N. Earlier, Mr. Tate, you talked about...
Can't hear you.
Oh, my name is P.L.A.N. and earlier, Mr. Tate, you talked about, I'm going to use the term curb appeal for the village. You talked about the deterioration, the vacancies, the necessity for it to be cleaned up, a concern about our public image. And that goes along with Mr. Burgess' interest in economic development and having it attract businesses and outside revenue to come in. Do you think that something as basic as putting up, it's kind of like we're talking here tonight. I think the prospects for Sauk Village are wonderful. I see the future as very bright because my home is North New Jersey, the riots in '67. And so for those that stayed, people had to stay who had the vision that when you're in the bottom, the only place you can go is up.
Yes.
You don't bury yourself further in, you go up. So I see the opportunity to build. So with that in mind, do you believe that something as basic as directing people's attention to littering less could be beneficial? What I mean specifically is along 394 as you're approaching us, you know, our two major intersections, do not litter. Keep our community beautiful. Do you believe it's worthwhile to start flashing that idea and planting in that seed? We might get to the intersection and find that there's still a few bottles and cans, but at least people will start having that mindset as we're approaching in this area. We're going to see, keep our community clean and do not litter. Do you believe something as basic as that can have a value?
Absolutely, and we have the marquee that's right on 394 where you get off is an excellent place to post that kind of message of no littering, or some catchy phrase that would draw people's attention to it. But then again, let's get back to that part. We got to clean it up first. And one way we could do that is asking our administrative law judge to get people from SWAP, the county inmates, so to speak, they can come out and help clean up that area. But posting the marquee, posting other signs that talk about no littering. I think it raises a consciousness, and perhaps the people that normally toss things out their window will not do that because they're probably afraid they're being watched.
Trustee Burton.
Yes, and you bring up a great point. It was something I had talked about with the trustees at the time, to have, I would say, people that are, in other words, misdemeanor candidates to help clean the village up. If you were walking in the street, instead of giving you a ticket, let's have a group of us, a group of them, and supervised by whoever we have to get supervised, but to go around once a month and show, we're trying to clean the village up. You're right. We need to start somewhere, a grassroots to show a little bit more pride in the village. As you walked in there, you saw pride and progress. Okay, we have to start here with the village administration. Show some pride. Let's get out there. We do it once a year. They have a cleanup program that they do it once a year. We could use I would say the small offenders, the misdemeanor ones, the ones that got small tickets, instead of trying to give them a record or trying to give them a negative outlook on their life once they get fingerprinted, bring them in and let them come out and have a detail once a month supervised by the police or whatever to start cleaning the community up. That would be a positive thing.
Mr. Jones.
I think that's a great idea. Small goals create big goals. If you could obtain a small goal just of keeping the litter off the ground, that gives hope and it gives a positive outlook that maybe we can make a great community, and that positivity should spread. There's nothing too small to start with. As long as it's positive, there's no such thing as too small. If picking dandelions is a mode to create a positive, small-term goal. We all make small goals in our lives. And as you achieve those goals, it makes you feel better about yourself. And hopefully those small goals, simple as picking up paper, will create a sense of pride that will be infectious through the whole community. That is a great idea.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to close this out here, but before I do, I just want to, by a show of hands, how many people have lived in the village for more than 10 years? How about more than 20? 30? 30 years. All right, that's great. That's good to see that so many people have come out. Oh, COVID. You were born here. Anyway, you picked out the third color, right?
Yes.
Okay. But I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And I really appreciate the trustee candidates that came out to show, their concern and their passion for the village of Sauk Village. So I want to also thank the Sauk Village Citizens for Public Awareness for helping co-host this event. And I also want to thank Dr. Lee for allowing us the venue, because this is strong. But I also want to thank all of the questions that you guys asked, and that the people that had emailed me questions, really good questions. And I want to thank you guys. Before we end, I just want to give each of the candidates just 30 seconds, just a final statement. So I'll let them go ahead and do that, starting with Caesar.
30 seconds. I think to do anything positive in Sauk Village, all residents must lend a hand. It's not a one-man show, one-woman show. Everyone has to pitch in and do whatever you can. Some of us can't do a lot, and some can do more. But if we all pitch in and work collectively, who knows what we can achieve?
hope I can use the 30 seconds. I'm going to try my best. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much to the panel that came out and answered the questions. I'd like to thank each and every resident, person that has an interest here in the village, citizen that came out and listened to us. I'm just going to say this, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Yes, I'm a very passionate person. I've always been that way. If you ask my kids, that's why they don't live with me, because I demand a certain amount of excellence, because I know what life brings you. Only thing I'm saying is this: if you're looking for someone to just go along, I'm not your person. I have a vested, and I am very passionate. That's why I get upset a lot, because I cannot stand when someone tries to, it's more than 2 seconds. Someone tries to tell me what I can and cannot do. I've been told what I can and cannot do all my life, and now look where I'm at now, because I don't believe in no, and I don't believe in we cannot. Yes, this village needs to move forward. Yes, it will move forward. And if I have anything to do with it, if I'm still your trustee after this, I will make sure that you're being at least told that you're being represented, and also that what happened is going to be done by the book in this building.
I want to thank everyone for coming out and being respectful. I want to thank everyone for having an open mind to even come out and be a part of the village. That shows a lot of what you're looking for. If you're here to look for answers, I'm the one for the job. I'm open, and I have nothing to hide. And I just thank everyone for coming out.